This documentary tries to give just a glimpse of the awesome and many-sided creative genius of modern Assam's most revered artist, Jyotiprasad. His prophetic and creative energy manifested itself in many directions and a variety of artistic and other media. Unfortunately, his life was cut short, tragically, at the age of 48 years, just when his creative powers were reaching maturity. But he has left behind a rich legacy which is still to be fully explored.
O my people, I, the artist, abide hidden in thy heart of hearts and in the innermost depth of thy mind.
অসমীয়া শিল্পী হিচাপে কিয় জ্যোতিপ্ৰসাদক আমি এগৰাকী শিল্পী হিচাপে সমগ্ৰ ভাৰত তথা বিশ্বই তেওঁক জনাৰ প্ৰয়োজন
What is there is Jyotiprasad's works that makes them so important and significant for the world at large. Because as an artist, he evolved from an Indian artist based in Assam to an artist of the world. He realized that the world had come to the threshold of a new era marked by the awakening of the masses all over the world, and he sees the artist rising from slumber in the hearts of millions.
আৰু সেই কাৰণে তেওঁ কৈছে বিশ্বজুৰি জনতাৰ জয় জয়কাৰ হওক জয় জয়কাৰ
আমি আটায়ে জানো যে অসমীয়া ভাষাটো 19 শতিকাৰ মাজভাগৰ পৰা অসমীয়া ভাষাটো যেনেকৈ অসমৰ পৰা নিৰ্বাসিত হৈছিল
With the advent of the British rulers came the Bengalis to man the administration, and with them came the Hindustani music and their Bengali kirtan songs. Elite Assami society did not pay much attention to the indigenous tunes of Borgit, Bongit, Bihugit, Bianam and others. Jyotiprasad took it as a challenge to make indigenous tunes popular among all sections of the people. As a result, Jyoti Sangeet emerged armed with the indigenous tunes and became so popular that even after 80 years of its composition, they are still popular among all the masses. The 2 atom bombs dropped in the twin cities of Japan during the Second World War by the USA completely destroyed Japan.
ध्वंस है कहाँ? ध्वंस है ही नहीं. ध्वंस में होता सृष्टि का सूत्रपात, घोर प्रलय का तरंगाघात. जलद घर्षण में सृष्टि का विद्युत दुबिक जागे. सृष्टि के मेघ राग में सुगवीर गर्जन गाजे. सृष्टि सृष्टि कहता.
Jyotiprasad said there is nothing like complete destruction. Creation springs from the very site of destruction.
चराचर सृष्टि अमृत संध्या शुभ्र केशी में कंचन चंगा.
This is the majestic building Poki, which means the concrete house, the ancestral house of rope cower Jyotiprasad Agarwala and built by his grandfather Haribilas Agarwala, who was the first person to bring Mahapurush Sri Sri Shankardev's Kirtan Namgosa into light by printing them out from the sacred manuscript Hasipat. Rope cower Jyotiprasad Agarwala, pioneer in film industry of Northeast India, was a devout worshipper of beauty. He believed that worship of beauty is the summum bonum of life. Jyotiprasad saw the beauty in deities, in nature, and in humankind. He wanted to make the life of people beautiful and wanted to show them the way. This is why people lovingly honored him with the title of Rup Kuar, which means the Prince of Beauty. He immortalized this aspect of beauty in his literary creations. Throughout his life, Jyotiprasad strove to understand the culture, sentiment, emotion, and overall the lifestyle of East India, which is the present 8 sister states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Mizoram, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Sikkim, and Tripura, which were once altogether known as Assam. Jyotiprasad maneuvered magnificently the culture, thoughts, and lifestyle of the people of all communities in his immortal songs, poetries, dramas, articles, and very much through his films in Assamese language. It was a lingua franca, spoken and understood by the people of all communities of Northeast.
I am the very young man of Assam, of Bharat. I am the new son of Bharat, blowing my horn on eastern hills. This young man represents the consciousness, ambition, and self-confidence of the young men and women of different ethnic groups of eastern India.
Traditional values are integrated part of our life. Jyotiprasad described the culture of India as a whole, as ever beautiful, which he always dreams of. This thought of his is beautifully expressed in one of his famous songs. Rup Kaur means the Prince of Beauty. Rup Kaur Jyotiprasad, the pioneer of the film industry, was also a worshipper of beauty. He was born on 17th June 1903 at Tamul Bharati estate near the Upper Assam district of Dibrugarh. But he died at an early age of only 48 years in his hometown, Tezpur, and that was in the year 1951 on 17th January. During the short span of 48 years of his life, he dominated the colossal cultural horizon of the Northeast India. His vision of an integrated cultural world of India could not be fulfilled during this short span of 48 years. But his writings, through his songs, his dramas and poems, has given us a clear direction in this regard and has also inspired us to a great extent in moving forward to achieve the cultural integration of Northeast and India as a whole.
According to Jyotiprasad, the Mahabharata war was allegorical in conception. The warrior Arjuna was the artist and his guide Krishna represented culture. The clash of the Pandavas with the Kauravas was clash of culture and anti-culture. Stretching the simile to the present day, he said that the people represented culture where capitalism and imperialism stood for anti-culture and were like the Kauravas.
The distinctive mark of his thoughts, outlook and contribution was his profound lifelong conviction that the man was, or man is, above all, an artist, a creative artist, who kept alive the flame of his creativity by perpetually transforming the world outside and the world within.
One day, while returning from school, Jyotiprasad saw an old, sick and starving ex-tea garden labourer lying down near the gate of his house. He took the man to his house and gave him food, shelter and medicine. But to his surprise, after a few days, the man passed away. Being touched by this tragic incident, Jyotiprasad was determined to bring welfare among the tea garden labourers. The emotions and feelings of this incident found expression through a poem published in his school magazine entitled Bonuar Mrityu, meaning Death of a Labourer. Perhaps this was the first poem of Jyotiprasad.
Jyotiprasad was the first tea planter to think about the welfare of the tea labourers. When he was the resident director of Tamulbari Tea Estate in Dibrugarh, he encouraged the labourers to form labour union to carry out the welfare activities. He provided basic amenities like umbrella during rainy season and ration at concession price. He also established recreational clubs for the labourers. Jyotiprasad said that great men were men of enlightenment and culture who fought against all evils. In that category, he placed Lord Krishna, Jesus Christ, Buddha, Prophet Muhammad, Shankar Deva, Marx,
Mahatma Gandhi, Rabindranath, and Aurobindo.
In one of his articles, Jyotiprasad wrote, "What we learn from the history of Assam is that the Assamese nation is a composite product of tribals and non-tribals, as well as Indians migrating to Assam and mixing with the indigenous people. Assamese nation is hence the product of this admixture." In the poem Utterance of an Assamese Youth, Jyotiprasad echoed, "I am a Khasi, I am a Jaintia, Dafla Abor Oka, I am Singphao Miri of the plain."
The vision of cultural integration of Northeast was first initiated by Sri Sri Hankardeva, a great Vaishnavite of Assam, more than 500 years ago. During his time, he succeeded to a great extent to bring integration among different ethnic communities of Northeast. After Sri Sri Hankardeva, the man who tried to bring a cultural integration of Northeast India in the 20th century was Rup Kaur Jyotiprasad Agarwala. His efforts of unity among the people of hills and plains of Northeast is well known in Assam.
His ideal artist was embodied in the traditional iconic figure of Krishna, who had a sense of beauty and who at the same time got involved in various predicaments and serious critical issues of the life of his time. Krishna was not interested in power himself, but he guided the wielders of power with his spiritual, that is cultural authority. Peace, progress and harmony are goals towards which each human group, each group of mankind is striving, but each in its own way, and not unwilling to learn from one another. One of the greatest means of bringing about that realization was art, which should become a way of life, manifest as much in cornfields and industrial workshops as in the artist studio and the stage. Above all, there must not be any barrier between art and the common man. Art must remain itself and yet share the concerns of the lives and the dreams of the common people. When the common people of a country are starving and frustrated, they can hardly be expected to play their role in the artistic transformation of the world and mankind.
This is one of the organs on which Jyotiprasad composed most of his immortal songs, which are some of the best composition of this part of India. And this organ is still being preserved by the member of his family.
This is a gramophone where discs known as palla are played. The disc that you will hear is an original soundtrack from the drama Joymoti. Music directed by Jyotiprasad.
জ্যোতিপ্ৰসাদ আগৰৱালাই নিজেই কৈ গৈছে যে তেখেতে গীতবোৰ সুনীত কৰি নাটকত প্ৰথমতে লিখিছিলে আৰু স্বৰূপাৰ্থত ক'বলৈ গ'লে
The Song of Sonit Kori, his first drama, written in 1917 with their melodious tunes, laid the foundation of a new class of music which Jyotiprasad termed as Kamrupi School of Music.
এটা ল'ৰা ছোৱালীৰ গীতত যে আইতা তুমি ৰাতিপুৱা পুৱা উঠি পেলাই এটা বৰগীত গাবা কাৰণ মই নতুন গীত লিখিব লাগে এই কথাটোত মানে এখন মহাভাৰত সোমাই আছে তেওঁ কৈছে যে মই বৰগীত শুনিম
Jyotiprasad always asked his mother to sing him a borgit. He did not attempt to write borgit, but he wanted to blend the essence of borgit in his compositions, meaning that he wanted to keep alive the traditional music amidst the modern music. We find a kind of distinctiveness in tunes of songs composed by Jyotiprasad, and they came to be known as Jyoti Sangeet.
Amar ঐতিহ্যৰ নিয়মটো হৈছে কি হি বৈ থাকে চিৰদিন বৈ থাকে ক'তো তাৰ বন্ধ নহয় নিচিগা ধাৰে বৈ থাকে এই নিচিগা ধাৰে বৈ থাকোঁতে আমাৰ সময়ে সময়ে স্থান কাল পাত্ৰভেদে তাৰ ৰূপ বদলি হয় এখন নদী যেনেকুৱা নদী এখন বৈ আহোঁতে নিজৰাৰ পৰা যদি আমি নিজৰা এটা গুৰি বুলি ধৰোঁ ঐতিহ্য বুলি তাৰ পৰা এখন নদী বৈ আহোঁতে স্থান কাল তাৰ কোনো ঠাইত বহল হয় কোনো ঠাইত ঠেক হয় কোনো ঠাইত সত্য প্ৰবল হয়
According to Jyotiprasad, some old practices should be discarded to pave ways for new changes that are taking place in the light of new discoveries.
নৈখনৰ এৰাকুটি নহয় নৈখনৰ সোঁত বৈ আহে সেই সোঁত বৈ আহি পেলাই পৰিৱৰ্তন হয় সময় পৰিৱৰ্তন হোৱাৰ লগে লগে তাৰ কথাৰ পৰিৱৰ্তন হয় কাৰণ জ্যোতিপ্ৰসাদে যিবিলাক গীত লিখিছিলে বৰগীত নহয় লোকগীতো নহয় কিন্তু বৰগীত লোকগীতৰ মন্থন
As the many different hill streams joins the great Brahmaputra river, the small ethnic groups should join the great Indian culture by coming together and maintaining their distinctive trails.
মা দেউতা নহ'লেও মা দেউতাৰ বীৰ্যৰ তেজ মোৰ গাত আছে আৰু সেই ধৰণে মই আগবাঢ়োঁ তেনেকৈ আমাৰ ঐতিহ্যৰ নতুন ৰূপত নতুন ধৰণে আগবাঢ়ে এই আগবাঢ়োতে জ্যোতিপ্ৰসাদে এটা আমাক সোঁৱৰাই দিছে যে ঐতিহ্য আনোতে তাত জাজিও আহে সতো আহে জাবৰ আহে সতো আহে আমি জাবৰবোৰ বৰ মোহনীয় হ'লেও সেইখিনি অলাগতিয়াল বুলি তাক দলিয়াই পেলাই দিব লাগিব নিৰ্মমভাৱে ভাল লাগিলেও মোৰ যদি বৰগীতৰ কথা এটা সুৰ এটা ভালো লাগে
According to Jyotiprasad, Assamese culture means the culture of both the tribal and non-tribal, which according to Jyotiprasad can achieve great height by coming together and building a strong base.
এই যে বস্তুটো যে ঐতিহ্যৰ বস্তু এই শিপাটোৰ কাৰণে এতিয়া জ্যোতিপ্ৰসাদে যিটো নতুন গীত লিখিছিলে সেই ধাৰাটো তাৰ পিছৰ ভূপেন হাজৰিকা বোলক খগেন মহন্ত বোলক জয়ন্ত হাজৰিকা বোলক এনেকুৱা মানুহবিলাকেও সেই ধাৰাটো প্ৰৱৰ্তন কৰি লৈ আহিছে গতিকে জ্যোতিপ্ৰসাদ মুহূৰ্তে মুহূৰ্তে আমাৰ স্মৰণত আছে
In Assam, Jyotiprasad joined a non-cooperation movement in 1921 at the call of Mahatma Gandhi to fight against the British rule. He realized that the British imperialism were working against the will and wishes of the Indian people. Exploitation, suppression of freedom, social disorder was at its height.
Jyotiprasad was a great freedom fighter. He was introduced to the political arena by his father, Paramananda Agarwala, when he was only 15 years of age. Jyotiprasad accompanied his father, Paramananda, to the Ahmedabad session of Congress in the year 1918. There he saw Mahatma Gandhi and the other national leaders. Young Jyotiprasad was greatly influenced by their speeches.
Born and brought up during the tumultuous days of the freedom movement, he saw in the tremendous aspirations and sacrifices of the people of India a significant moment in the liberation and progress of mankind. His ideas of freedom bear a lesson for our time insofar as he believed that the assertion of identity and fight against oppression and injustice can be reconciled with the acceptance of diversity and peaceful coexistence and freedom of self-expression of nations need not lead to conflict and disharmony, but interchange and integration.
Jyotiprasad, along with other Congress leaders, marched from village to organize volunteer forces to fight for independence. In 1919, Assam Student Sanmelan was held, where Sir Acharya Prafulla Chandra Roy, scientist chair of Bengal, presided over it. Jyotiprasad was chosen as in charge of the music section of the Sanmelan. He wrote patriotic songs that were sung by the volunteers to awaken the people to fight against the British.
শক্তিশালী ভাৰতৰ ওলাই আহা সন্তান তুমি বিপ্লৱৰ বিশ্ববিজয় নজোৱান সমূহ সমৰ ভয় নকৰিবি মুক্তি যুঁজাৰু হুঁচিয়াৰ মৃত্যু বিজয় কৰিব লাগিব স্বাধীনতাৰ খুলি দুৱাৰ বিশ্ববিজয় নজোৱান
विश्व विजयी नौजवान विश्व विजयी नौजवान
विश्व विजयी नौजवान विश्व विजयी नौजवान शक्तिशाली भारत के निकल पड़ो आगे बढ़ो संतान तुम क्रांति के विश्व विजयी नौजवान विश्व विजयी नौजवान विश्व विजयी नौजवान विश्व विजयी नौजवान सामने समर डरो न मुक्ति योद्धा होशियार मृत्यु विजय करना है स्वाधीनता का खोल द्वार मृत्यु विजय करना है स्वाधीनता का खोल द्वार विश्व विजयी नौजवान विश्व विजयी नौजवान विश्व विजयी नौजवान विश्व विजयी नौजवान अग्निवृष्टि होने को है गरजे बज्रपा अग्निवृष्टि होने को है गरजे बज्रपा शिलावृष्टि भूमिकंप होगा उल्का पार शिलावृष्टि भूमिकंप होगा उल्का पार विश्व विजयी नौजवान विश्व विजयी नौजवान विश्व विजयी नौजवान.
One of the most magnificent drama of Jyotiprasad, written in between the year 1945 and 46, is Lobita. The drama unfolds the revolt of 1942, the Second World War, and the state of Assamese societies during those tumultuous and painful days. We find in the drama a bold Assamese village girl, Lobita, fights and faces the burn all alone with limitless power, patience, and courage. Ultimately, Lobita sacrificed her life for the sake of country's freedom. One of the most important characters in the drama is Ilahi Bakhsh, a Muslim by religion, which exemplifies the age-old unity of existing Assamese Hindus and Muslims, which reflects Jyotiprasad's urgent call, stressing the need of unity among Hindus and Muslims to build a strong Assam, overall a prosperous and peaceful India.
Oi, শুনিছানে নাই? আন্দোলন যে খুব বেছি হৈছে। দেশখনত গোটেই মেলেৰিয়াৰে ভৰি পৰিছে। কি যে হ'ব ক'বই পৰা নাই। বগা বঙলৈ দেশখনক জুই লগালে। বন্দে মাতৰম! বন্দে মাতৰম! বন্দে মাতৰম! বন্দে মাতৰম! বন্দে মাতৰম! ভাৰত মাতা কি জয়! বন্দে মাতৰম!
কলিজা ৰিপৰ্ট দাঁত বেটি
চিচি তহঁতৰ লাজ লগা নাই তহঁত ইমান তললৈ গলি ইমান নিচ হলি তহঁত পুলিচ হৈছে তেওঁক ৰক্ষা কৰিবলৈ তোৰ বুলি বল দিবলৈ মানুহক অত্যাচাৰীৰ পৰা ৰক্ষা কৰিবলৈ কিন্তু কৰিছ কি অকণমান ছোৱালীজনীক পাই ৩-৪টা বৰমতা হৈ মাৰিবলৈ লাজ লগা নাই তহঁতৰ পুৰুষ খালি এনেকুৱাই নেকি ইমান নিচ হাতত ক্ষমতা পাই বলিয়া হলি বগলা হলি
চুপ থাক নহলে পিস্তলৰ গুলিয়ে কলিজা উৰুৱাই দিম
চুপ নাথাকো জানিছ গোলামৰ গোলাম আজিকালি ছোৱালী বন্দুক পিস্তল বোমা একোলৈকে ভয় নকৰে বন্দুক দেখুৱাই আজি ছোৱালী ভয় দেখুৱাই আহিছো মই গান্ধীৰ বহীত নাম লিখন নাই জানিবি বাপে
ছোৱালীজনী ক'ত
থাকিব যোৱা পৰহিৰ পৰা মোৰ ঘৰতে আছে হিন্দুৰ ছোৱালী একো এটাকে মুখত নিদিয়ে চকু গৈ গাঁতত সোমালগৈ কালি ৰাতি গাখীৰ এবাতি কটিয়াইছিল আজি আকৌ গাখীৰ অকণ টপতাইছো সুধিলো বোলো মাই তোক কৰবাত থৈ আহোগৈ বল তাই কোনো পথে নাযায় তাকে ভাবি চিন্তি আছিলো বোলো কৰো কি থানাৰ দাৰোগাকে সমজাই দিওঁগৈ নেকি
লভিতা নেকান্দিবা লভিতা
তুমি বুজা নাই ইলাহি ককা মই হিন্দু মানুহৰ ছোৱালী মোক সিহঁতে বঙালী কঙালে হাতত ধৰিলে মই তোমাৰ ঘৰত এজন মুছলমানৰ ঘৰত আশ্ৰয় লৈ থাকিলো এতিয়া হিন্দু মানুহে মোক ৰাখে কেনেকৈ সিহঁত অকাল পৰকাল নষ্ট যাব বুজিছা বুঢ়া ককা
আল্লাহ মানুহবোৰ ইমান কাটছিতিয়া
ইলাহি মিয়া কি কম আমাৰ মানুহবিলাকৰ আজিও চকু মুকলি নহল আজিও
কেলে বাপাই গান্ধী মহাত্মাই কংগ্ৰেছে আমাক কেতিয়াবা এইবোৰ এৰিবলৈ কৈছে গান্ধী মহাত্মাৰ কথা অকণো গুণ ধৰা নাইনে
From his school days, Jyotiprasad had been an earnest and dedicated freedom fighter, responding to the calls of the national leaders with tremendous energy and enthusiasm. In fact, as a schoolboy, he carried on his back khadi clothes to be distributed among villagers in the countryside. That shows the intensity of his conviction and his dedication. His ancestral house had become an active center of freedom struggle towards which his parents were sympathetic, and it was visited by leading national leaders like Mahatma Gandhi. He himself authored a biography of Mahatma Gandhi long before independence, and strove to assimilate and carry out his principles and instructions with great seriousness. He was deeply attracted to the philosophy of nonviolence and service of the people. But in the throes of the anti-imperialist struggle, he sometimes felt that though the end is a nonviolent society, there could be room for moments of violent rebellion. He was conscious of the power of oppressors, and as he was coming to the end of his career, he was torn between his instinctive preference for nonviolence and his realistic perception of the narrow selfishness and tyranny of the oppressors of mankind.
When Gandhiji for the first time came to our house, we had to arrange fruits and goat's milk beforehand. Gandhiji favored goat's milk every morning. Villagers flocked into Poki, where Gandhiji stayed, with goat's milk in vessels made of bamboo.
প্ৰত্যেক মানুহে আহিছে যি ছাগলী গাখীৰ দিয়ে আনি মানে একেবাৰে পাকঘৰৰ শেষৰ ৰুমটো আই ৰান্ধনি গৰাকী সেই ঘৰটো প্ৰায় ভৰি যোৱাৰ নিচিনা ষ্টুডেণ্টছ কনফাৰেন্স হয় সেই সময়ত মানে আমি মই নাথাকিলে মানে গান গোৱা নহয়।
In many student Sanmillan, I was the leader in the opening chorus team. My brother Jyotiprasad taught us the songs.
মই নাথাকিলে গানৰ আৱাজ নুঠে ককাইদেউ মানে
Like other children, all my young brothers and sisters used to stay close to our mother. But Jyotiprasad was different. He most of the time confined himself to his room, a world of his own. In fact, I cannot recollect a moment when he was naughty or troublesome. Occasionally, he used to come out from his room and warn us of doing any mischief with our mother. Sometime when there was thunder and hailstorm in the evenings, mother used to keep all her children inside the house. But Jyotiprasad managed to sneak away to the backyard, climb the tree branch and enjoy the beauty of nature. He was fearless. I was fond of birds. The gardener used to bring me birds, which I kept it in a cage. Next day, I saw the cage open. In this way, many caged birds flew away. My brother Jyotiprasad freed the caged birds and said that birds should never be caged. They belong to the sky.
শুনিছানে কৰা কিম্বা মৰা
মৃত্যু বাহিনী গঠন হৈছে, শান্তি বাহিনী গঠন হ'ল, এতিয়া আকৌ মৃত্যু বাহিনী। দেশৰ কাৰণে প্ৰাণ দিবলৈ সাজু থাকিব লাগিব। অহিংসা নীতিৰে আমি স্বাধীনতা আনিব নোৱাৰিলে হিংসা নীতিৰ আশ্ৰয় ল'ব লাগিব।
He played an active part during the non-cooperation, civil disobedience and the Quit India movement. He was one of the leaders of the 42 movement, consorting with people like Aruna Asaf Ali and Jyotiprasad Narayan. And he inspired people with his active participation, his passionate declamations against the tyrannical British rule and for the liberation of his countrymen. Though he later became profoundly disturbed by increasing violent and anarchic trends of the Quit India movement and parted company with it.
Jyotiprasad toured extensively throughout Assam despite his ill health, explaining to the people the meaning of revolutionary movement. Jyotiprasad's patriotic songs echoed throughout the hills and plains of Assam. People inspired by the powerful lyrics and tune participated in the Seva Dal marching songs.
अप्रभेदी उड़ 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 अप्रभेदी उड़ नीला आकाशे उड़ तारों के बीच उड़ सबके समान उड़ 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 अप्रभेदी उड़ तीन रंगों की भारतीय पताका, तीन रंगों की भारतीय पताका, आलोकित विमान ओ मेरे भारत के विजयी निशान, भारत के विजयी निशान, भारत के विजयी निशान।
জ্যোতিপ্ৰসাদৰ যে জাতীয় চিন্তাধাৰা সেই সকলোবোৰ তেওঁৰ সৃষ্টিসমূহৰ মাজেদি প্ৰকাশিত হৈছে।
Jyotiprasad's distinctive national feelings and thoughts found apt expression in his works.
ভাৰতীয় প্ৰগতি, সংস্কৃতি বা ঐতিহ্যক বাদ দি চিন্তা কৰা নাছিল। তদুপৰি তেওঁ এই সংস্কৃতি সম্পৰ্কে
While deeply concerned for the traditions, culture and future prospects of Assam, he was at the same time inseparable from the Indian culture, traditions and the future India.
অসমীয়াৰ ভাৰতীয় ঐতিহ্যৰ সত্যৰ ওপৰতে প্ৰতিষ্ঠিত হ'ব লাগিব।
He stated categorically that the progress of Assamese and Indian culture must be firmly based on the truth of Indian tradition.
অসমীয়া সংস্কৃতিৰ বিকাশত তেওঁ নিজা বৈশিষ্ট্যৰ লগত বিশ্বমুখী মনৰ প্ৰতিবিম্ব বিচাৰিছিল।
For the future progress of Assam, the uninterrupted progress of the world outside must be perpetually kept in view.
অসমৰ গৰুৰে তিলিকা হৈ থাকিব।
He laid stress on reconciling the preservation of Assamese identity with a broad world outlook and freedom from insecularity. At the same time, he advocated a synthesis of culture where the distinctive character of the regional cultures will not be lost. In around 1931, Jyotiprasad collected a batch of young men, taught them chorus and marched throughout the night in torchlight procession to Naudwar when Bhagat Singh and Rajguru were hanged by the British. One summer noon, while Jyotiprasad and Omyo Kumar Das, one of the greatest national leaders of Assam, were cycling from village to village, they came to the sandy banks of the Buri River. But there was no bridge over it. Jyotiprasad, because of his weak constitution, became exhausted. Told us that he could not proceed further and instead would lie down on the sand and pass the night. So, at last, Jyotiprasad rode on Das's back and crossed the shallow Buri River. In 1932, while moving underground from places to places, organizing strategy for independent movement, he was arrested by British police and put into prison for 15 months and fined rupees 500. His health deteriorated in jail, but he was still determined to complete full jail term.
Jyotiprasad asserted boldly that each ethnic and national group must develop its own cultural identity as part of a common process of liberation prevailing in the whole country and indeed the world. In particular, he had a vision of a resurgent Northeast where its traditional cultures, so long languishing in poverty and neglect, will flourish together in harmony, bringing to birth a new northeastern civilization. Jyotiprasad firmly believed and asserted that some old practice and institutions must be discarded if we have to move ahead, and some new ones must also be embraced.
Jyotiprasad, before his death on 17th January 1951, wrote, "Through all the blood, tears and insufferable sufferings of all the innocent villagers, the independence came. We are enjoying that independence by defiling it with corruption, spiritual degradation, and by losing out our idealism."
He was saddened and aggrieved to see the seeds of corruption and authoritarianism in the government, and appealed to the masses to keep a watchful eye on the performance of the government. He also believed that artists ought to be at the forefront of the critical observers of the government. Soon his disillusionment became profound enough to make him befriend radical critics of the government.
Jyotiprasad, at the dawn of independence, has an inspired vision of the endless quest for beauty and perfection of the people dearest to him. those of Assam and those of India. Their cultural heritage is and will be evergreen and ever vibrant, and it is now radiant with delight in the heart and minds of the millions of awakened masses.
At the very young age of 14, in the year 1917, Jyotiprasad wrote his first play, Honit Kuwari, which means The Princess of Sonitpur. It was a masterpiece in its kind. Besides, it's a romantic comedy of love based on the legendary episode of Usha, the daughter of King Bana of Sonitpur, and Aniruddha, the grandson of Lord Krishna of Dwarka.
অৱশ্যে সপোনত দেখিছোঁ সেই সুন্দৰ অনুপম মূৰ্তি সপোনতে উটি আহিছিল আকৌ সপোনতে উটি গ'ল কিন্তু থৈ গ'ল এটি অংগ স্পৰ্শনৰ আনন্দ সৌন্দৰ্যৰ মোহ যৌৱনৰ লালসা প্ৰণয়ৰ অদম্য হেঁপাহ তেওঁ কোন তেওঁ ক'ৰ মই ক'ব নোৱাৰোঁ কিন্তু তেওঁ মোৰেই মই তেওঁৰ ই সপোনেই হওক বা দিঠকেই হওক প্ৰথমেই তেওঁ মোৰ অংগ স্পৰ্শ কৰিছে তেওঁক মই হৃদয়ত ঠাই দিছোঁ
বৰ আচৰিত দিয়া সপোনত দৰ্শন পাই এনে হোৱাটো মই কেতিয়াও দেখা নাই শুনা নাই কোন ক'ৰ একো নজনাকৈ তুমি তাক আত্মসমৰ্পণ কৰিলা বৰ অদ্ভুত
সপোন কুঁৱৰী অমিয়া মাধুৰী মই আনো বিচাৰি সপোন পাৰৰ মই সপোন কুঁৱৰী অমিয়া মাধুৰী মই আনো বিচাৰি মায়াবিনী মই যে কুহুকিনী মই যে মায়াবিনী মই যে কুহুকিনী আহি কান্দোনৰ কথা দিও কৰি সুখ দুখ কত চাওঁ হাহু মৃদু মৃদু কৰি সুখ দুখ কত চাওঁ আহু মৃদু মৃদু কৰি সপোন পাৰৰ মই সপোন কুঁৱৰী অমিয়া মাধুৰী মই আনো বিচাৰি সপোন পাৰৰ মই সপোন কুঁৱৰী অমিয়া মাধুৰী মই আনো বিচাৰি
The architectural designs he drew for the Guwahati University buildings indicated what and how much importance he gave to the climatic conditions and the purpose for which the buildings would be used. We notice originality, utility, and an aesthetic sense in these designs.
The drama Rupalim is written in the year 1936. The scene in the drama is created in an imaginary atmosphere amid the tribal life of the Northeast. Rupalim is all about the tragedy story of romantic love. Here, Jyotiprasad intelligently depicts the clash between love, lust, and jealousy.
ৰূপালিম আজি ইমান পলম কিয় বাঁহী বজাওঁতে মোৰ উঠ বিষালে
তোমাৰ বাঁহীৰ মাতবোৰে উৰি উৰি গৈ মোক আগভেটি ধৰি আহিবলৈকে নিদিয়ে সিহঁতৰ মাজে মাজে বাট ফালি আহোঁতে বেলি হ'ল আকৌ
তেন্তে মই আৰু পেপা নবজাওঁ
বজাবা মায়াব বজাবা বাৰু মায়াব তুমি তোমাৰ বাঁহী দি কিমান মৰম কৰা
খুব ভাল পাওঁ পেপাটি নহ'লে যেন মই এখন দেখো থাকিব নোৱাৰো
তেতিয়াহ'লে তুমি তোমাৰ পেপাটোৰ লগতে থাকা মই যাওঁ
কেলেই যাবাগৈ ৰূপালিম
কেলৈ নাযাম মই নহ'লে তুমি গোটেই দিনটো থাকিব পাৰা গোটেই ৰাতিটোও পাৰা কিন্তু বাঁহীটো নহ'লে নোৱাৰা তাৰমানে তুমি মোক বাঁহীটোৰ সমানকো মৰম নকৰা
বাঁহীটোনো কি তাতকৈ তোমাক মই কত গুণে মৰম কৰোঁ
তেতিয়াহ'লে তোমাৰ মোক বাঁহীটো দিয়াচোন এতিয়া কেনে
তুমি বৰ অকৰুণ ৰূপালিম তুমি নিৰ্দয়া
পেপা বলিয়া বাঁহৰ পেপাটো ভাঙিলত মই বোলে অকৰণ হলো ভালেই হ'ল এতিয়া এই সময়ত মোলৈ মনত পৰি থাকিব তেওঁ
এতিয়া তুমি নহা সময়ত কোনে তোমাৰ মাত মাতিব কোনে তোমাৰ মিঠা মিঠা গান মোক শুনাব
কিয় কেনেকৈ বাৰু সি মোৰ মাত মাতিছিল
মোৰ হিয়াৰ মাজত সোমাই থকা ৰূপালিমৰ মাত দিয়ে এই বাঁহীৰ বিন্ধাই বিন্ধাই ওলাই আহি তুমিয়ে হৈ তোমাৰ গীতকে মোক গাই শুনাইছিলে ৰূপালিম তুমি কিয় ইমান নিমৰমীয়াল বাৰু তুমি অকলে এৰি থৈ গ'লে এই বাঁহীটিয়ে তুমিয়ে হৈ মোক কতনো ইননি বিননিৰে ব্যাকুল কৰি থৈছিলে
তেন্তে মোক নকলা কিয় মায়াব তেন্তে তুমি মোক নকলা কিয় মায়াব উপযুক্ত কথা কৈছা ৰাইজসকল ৰুক্মীৰ মুখৰ উপযুক্ত কথা বুজিলো ৰুক্মী জাতি আজিও জীয়াই আছে যুগ যুগান্তৰ ধৰি মোৰ মাতৃসকলে সেৱাত নিমগ্ন হৈ আছে কিন্তু যুগে যুগে যেতিয়াই পুৰুষে কৰ্তব্য পাহৰি দুৰ্বলতাক আশ্ৰয় কৰি কৰ্তব্য বিমুখ হৈছে তেতিয়াই তিৰোতা ওলাই আহিছে কৰ্তব্য সোঁৱৰাই দিবলৈ আজি ময়ো তাকেই কৰিবলৈ ওলাই আহিছো কোৱা বীৰসকল মোৰ ই উপযুক্ত হৈছেনে তেন্তে ৰুক্মী বীৰসকল ওলোৱা ৰুক্মী জাতিৰ অপমানৰ প্ৰতিশোধ ল'বলৈ ৰুক্মী জাতিৰ মান ৰাখিবলৈ ৰুক্মীৰ উপহিৰ সতীত্ব ৰাখিবলৈ তোমালোকৰ ৰজা যদি অসমৰ্থ তেন্তে মই তোমালোকক বাট দেখুৱাই নিম কোৱা ৰুক্মী বীৰসকল তোমালোক এই অভিযানৰ বাবে সাজুনে
In the currents and cross currents of the tumultuous movement of the freedom struggle, many sectarian and communal tendencies began to divide and disturb the people and divert their attention from the real enemy, imperialism. Instead of being bewildered and despondent, Jyotiprasad saw them as part of the travails of the birth of a free nation.
Karangar Ligiri, which means the palace maid, is the second drama of Jyotiprasad, written around 1934. And the hero of the drama, Hundor Kuar, which means the handsome prince, refused to be bound down to the rules set by the society and even refuses to get married before ascending to the throne.
Bapa Hundor?
আইতা তুমি মোৰ মূৰটো ঘোলা নকৰালৈকে নেৰা নেকি দিন নাই ৰাতি নাই সেই একেটা কথা তোমাৰ আৰু ভাবিবলৈ কৰিবলৈ একো নোহোৱা হ'ল নেকি আইতা
তইনো কেনেকৈ জানিলি সেই একে কথাকে
জানিবলৈ আৰু ভাবিব লাগিছেনে সেই একেটি কথাৰ বাহিৰে তোমাৰ আৰু কি কথা থাকিব পাৰে আজি এই কেবছৰে সেই একেটি কথাকে তুমি দিনটো 10 বাৰ শুনাই 14 বাৰ আমনি কৰিবা
আজি বা আন কথাকে
আজি তেন্তে ভূতৰ ওপৰতে দান আকৌনো কি নবতৰা
স্বৰ্গদেৱ ঈশ্বৰ বুঢ়া হৈছে ৰাজ্যভাৰ তোমাক দি ধৰ্মকাৰ্য সাধিবৰ মন
পিতৃৰ পূজা পুত্ৰই বব তাতেনো সুধিবৰ কি হ'ল
পিছে ৰজা হৈ ৰাজপাটত বহিবলৈ গ'লেতো
বিবাহ কৰিব লাগিব তাকে কোৱা
আহিবৰনো কি কথা হ'ল মোৰ বান্ধৱ
অনংগ অনংগ মোৰ বান্ধৱ তিৰুতা বান্ধৱ তিৰুতা তিৰুতাৰ বুদ্ধি মূৰৰ পৰা নোলায় পেটৰ পৰাহে ওলায়
বাপা সুদৰ্শন মই ঠিক জানিছিলো ইয়াৰ মূৰৰ বিকাৰ ঘটিছে এই শাস্ত্ৰই ইয়াক খুজা নাই মই নোৱাৰো আৰু বপাই মই নোৱাৰো
শেৱালি তই মোক ভাল পাওনে
পাওঁ কোঁৱৰ
মোক ভাল পাওঁ কিয়
এনেই
কিয় ভাল পাওঁ
এনেই ভাল পাওঁ
এনেয়ে ভাল পাওঁ এনেয়ে ভাল পাওঁ কেতিয়াও নহয় ভাল পাওঁ এনেয়ে ভাল পাওঁ মই তোৰ তিৰুতাৰ লুইতমান ফেনে ফুটুকাৰে বোৱা আকাংক্ষাৰ ভালকৈ সোণ ৰূপ হীৰা মুকুতাৰে যোগান ধৰিব পাৰিম বুলি সেইকাৰণেই তই মোক ভাল পাওঁ তিৰুতাই ভাল পোৱা দিব স্বাৰ্থৰ অগ্নিত ভাল পোৱা পুৰি ভসম কৰি চাই সোপা আনি আগত ধৰি কৈছে হোৱা এয়াই ভাল পোৱা আৰু আমি পুৰুষে সেই ছাইখিনিকে গাঁত সানি সকলো পাহৰি প্ৰণয়ৰ ধুনি জ্বলাই তিৰুতাৰ প্ৰেমৰ বৰাগী এনেই ভাল পাওঁ তই মোক এনেই ভাল নাপাওঁ ভাল পোৱাৰ চাই তহঁতে পুৰুষৰ চকুত মাৰি পুৰুষক কণা মোনা কৰা পুৰুষক ভুৱা দিয়া মায়াবিনী তহঁত
হ'ব পাৰে সেইটো কিন্তু আপোনাৰ মতে কাম হ'বলৈ হ'লে সমাজত এতিয়া এটা প্ৰলয় উপস্থিত হ'ব
প্ৰলয় হওক প্ৰলয়ৰ আৱশ্যক হৈছে শতাব্দী ধৰি গোট খাই থকা সমাজৰ আৱৰ্জনা ধুই নিৰ্মল আৰু পবিত্ৰ কৰিবলৈ এক প্ৰলয়ৰ অতি আৱশ্যক হৈছে তেনে মই আজি সেই প্ৰলয়ক আহ্বান জনাম মোৰ জীৱনলৈ সমাজৰ জীৱনলৈ মই প্ৰলয়ক আমন্ত্ৰণ কৰি আনিম
Jyotiprasad said, man is an artist in the sense that he can transform his dreams into reality. I being a man, I'm an artist. You're a man, every one of you is an artist. Jyotiprasad also said, people will shun violence and welcome non-violence. Man will be the worshippers of truth and beauty. Gandhism will gain ground throughout the world. Jyotiprasad wrote many patriotic songs during the 1942 freedom movement of India. He took an active part and even fought for the independence of the country. In this way, he was arrested and jailed by the British rulers. Jyotiprasad wrote in one of his poems, I'm playing with fire, fire is my playmate. If none comes forward, my solitary life will be illuminated with the glow of 100 lights. I'm playing with fire.
Betterment of lives of the people in every sphere of activities, including socio-economic and cultural sphere, was the sole aim of Jyotiprasad. He said that all that is good is the culture. Jyotiprasad wrote, to establish peace on earth, to light the lamp of wealth and prosperity in every heart and home, to illuminate the world with beauty and splendor. I go round the universe, roam through planet after planet, taking human form. I, the eternal artist, come.
Jyotiprasad appealed to all ethnic groups living in hills and plains of Northeast to maintain their distinctive traits and at the same time integrate themselves into the rich and Catholic culture of East India, which again is an important constituent of the great Indian culture. Hence, Jyotiprasad wrote, listen, listen, sons of the people of the world, maintain the distinctive traits of your many splendored civilized life. Even so, be friends with one another. This is the unity hymn of the new world. Thus, I write the scripture of mankind. This will be the ideal of life in this world.
Jyotiprasad's efforts of unity even among the two religions of Northeast and India can be seen in his another poem. I am a Hindu, I am a Muslim, I am the young man of the new generation. My God is in the temple and the mosque. My God is in every namghar. He is in my heart and also outside. My God is in rivers and forests, in the sky and the above.
Jyotiprasadৰ গীতৰ অসমীয়া সমাজত অসমীয়া জীৱনত ভূমিকা কি? তেওঁ মূলতঃ ডাঙৰ তেওঁৰ যিটো প্ৰতিভা আছিলে সেইটো হৈছে দেশাত্মবোধৰ প্ৰতিভা। তেওঁ নিজৰ দেশক অতিপাত ভাল পাইছিলে আৰু সেইকাৰণে তেওঁ প্ৰকৃত অসমীয়া হৈও ভাৰতীয় হ'ব বিশ্ববাসী হ'ব খুজিছিলে।
Jyoti Sangeet is very much relevant to us even today. Patriotism is the main theme of his songs. Hence, his songs are relevant to us as far as patriotism is in our blood.
লুইটৰ বহল বুকুৱেদি মিলিত হৈ মহাভাৰতৰ বাটে পৃথিৱীৰ সবাহলৈ যাম। এইকেইটা লক্ষ্য কৰিবলগীয়া কথা যে অসমৰ সংস্কৃতিৰ গোটেইবিলাক জান জুৰি নৈ মানে আমাৰ যিবিলাক বিভিন্ন সুৰ আছে।
The music of the tribals and the non-tribals of this part of India is very much felt in Jyoti Sangeet.
গীত আছে অমুক আছে এইবিলাকৰ মাজেদি আমি যেতিয়া আগবাঢ়ি পেলাই আমি লুইটত পৰিম না গোটেইখিনি বস্তু আহি লুইটত সন্মিলিত হৈ এটা নতুন ৰূপ ল'ব। সেই ৰূপেদি আমি পৃথিৱীলৈ যাম। কিন্তু পৃথিৱীলৈ যাম কেনেকৈ যাম? মহাভাৰতৰ বাটে।
In the year 1934, Jyotiprasad made his first SMS film Joymati. He built an improvised studio in the Bholaguri tea estate, which is 120 kilometers away from his hometown, Tejpur.
Vivekananda Agarwala, younger brother of Jyotiprasad, took the responsibility to exhibit Joymoti talkie throughout Assam. No doubt it was an upheaval task for Vivekananda during the 30s.
Jyotiprasad was involved so intensely in the various aspects and phases of the freedom struggle, so intensely involved that he found little time to concentrate single-mindedly on artistic productions. Visionary that he was, on his return from Europe, he made a daring attempt to make a film in Assam, where at that time there was no studio and very few cinema halls indeed. He brought a new artistic viewpoint to filmmaking, which he had acquired during his training at UFA studio of Germany. Far ahead of the ordinary Indian films of the day, where cinema was only opera in celluloid, with little scope for artistic expression. But his deepest and most poignant feelings welled up in his songs, catching his different moods, ranging from tragic dejection to celebration of the mystery and beauty of the world, the joy of creation, and dream of a happy humanity involved in production of beauty. With a variety of rhythmic variations and intimate, haunting echoes of folk melodies of different grades, Jyotiprasad combined lucidity with deep, suggestive subtlety. In my own opinion, we are far from fathoming the depths of his creative expression as yet. And younger people must make a serious effort to understand, explain, and explore his ideas and his creative techniques.
No other person has contributed so much in such a rich manner and in so little time towards the cultural resurgence of Northeast as Jyotiprasad. His commitment to the cause of creative art and literature was total. His uncompromising loyalty towards his principles and conviction was beyond question. Chandra Kumar Agarwal, the famous poet, was his uncle and mentor. Death is inevitable. The worshipper of beauty left for the land of light and beauty, which he had described in his poem while addressing God of Death. I salute thee, O Death. Thy flower-bedecked altar is so beautiful, so peaceful. I see thy land of light beyond the engulfing darkness, and put on new attire to enter thy country.
मेरे भारत की